Hello, Instagram. I'm here live talking to you today about perfectionism in business. And I'm on Facebook too. All right. So we're live on Facebook and Instagram talking today about perfectionism in business. So I talked about this topic with my networking group, and it was so powerful that I wanted to share it with all of you. So we're going to talk about the 5 ways that perfectionism may show up in your business and how you can get past it. So for those 5 ways, I have 3 ways that you can move past that. So let's get right into it. The first is when writing content. So when you're writing content, do you tend to refine, and keep refining and keep editing until 3 or 4 hours have gone by? That's perfectionism showing up right there in your business when you're trying to put content out for your people, whether it's social media, whether it's a podcast, maybe it's an email, maybe it's your website. Anytime you're writing content for your people and you're spending a ton of time, hours on one piece of that, that's perfectionism showing up and telling you you're not good enough, this isn't good enough, we need to keep going, we need to keep editing. And it's going to continue that way as long as you allow it to. So for that one thing, it might take you forever. Now, I want to let you know too, everything in this live is something I've experienced in my business, and with the help of my coach and also with trial and error, I've figured out these ways to move past it. So for me, it used to take me hours to do one social media post. Hours, maybe a whole day. And then I look back at my week and be like, wait, I spent my whole week on 3 social media posts. What is happening? So that is not effective. It's not going to help your business move forward because you're spending so much time on this one piece that does not have to be hours worth of your time. So if you do notice that you are taking a long time to put that content together, know that it doesn't have to be that way, because even when you spend X amount of time, all these hours doing that, you then look back and you might still not think it's perfect enough or good enough to put it out there. So you could really end up doing this for really forever for this one item. So to get past that, to get past the, hey, I'm creating a social media post and it took me 3 hours to do it, allowing yourself a time limit. So saying for this one thing, I'm only going to spend an hour on it. And when that timer goes off, you have to stop working on it. So allowing yourself to say, great, I'm doing this thing for X amount of time, but when the time is up, I'm done editing and it's going live. So really putting some boundaries on yourself and telling yourself, this is as long as I'm working on this, and any more than that is not, it's not worth it. I'm not doing it. So really sticking to that and listening to yourself and allowing that to be what it is. So really taking the time to say, okay, I'm only putting this amount of time on this project, and when that time is up, I am done and moving on. So another way to do that is also to put limits on the amount of edits that you can have for your content. So I usually say like 1 to 2 edits, but you also have to be careful with that because 1 to 2 edits can still take 3 hours. So being careful if you do choose edits over the time limit, really knowing that like I can do 1 to 2 edits as long as it does not exceed 2 hours or something like that. So maybe there's a little bit of both, the time limit and the amount of edits that you can have on that piece. And then the last part is allowing good enough to be 80% done. So really allowing, like, think of it as like a pass-fail class, right? So if it's pass-fail, you only need to pass to get past that class. So you don't want to do so much extra work because it really doesn't matter. You're not getting a letter grade. So really allowing it to be pass fail. Does this pass? Did I write words? Is there a picture? What's the bare minimum you need to get that content out the door? And if those are met, you're done. So that's it, right? Really allowing the bare minimum to be okay and to be what you put out to your people, because at least you're showing up, and then you're not wasting time on perfecting, refining, and putting that out to the world that way. So that's the writing content piece and how that can be so time consuming and take over a lot of your to-do list, and ways that you can eliminate that extra time you're putting into it and really put time limits and boundaries on yourself and say, I'm only doing it for this amount of time. I'm only doing this many edits, and done is better than perfect, right? Really allowing it. Did I meet the bare requirements? And if I did, then it's done and it's going live. Even if I feel that it's not perfect, that's okay. So then the other place that I see perfectionism coming into people's businesses is with the bank account. And what I mean by that is there's like two sides of the spectrum with this piece. It's the constantly checking your bank account to see if the money came in, to see where your numbers are, in a way that's very like excessive and comes from this place of scarcity, of not enough, of needing more, of being desperate. And then there's the other side of the spectrum of completely ignoring your bank account and your numbers. So really taking a look to see where you lie in that spectrum. Are you the person who constantly checks and constantly has to like be figuring it out? Or do you avoid and walk away from it and hope that like, hey, if I'm not looking at it, then it's not over there. No. So really taking a moment to notice which one you might be, and maybe you're a little bit of both, maybe you're kind of in the middle. So taking a moment to notice like what that is, because perfectionism comes in both of those places. Because really, when we are looking at our bank account, we're looking for specific numbers. We're looking for it to look a certain way. We want it to be whatever it is in our mind that's like ideal to have in our bank account. So when we're avoiding, we're hoping, oh, if I don't look, then eventually it'll get there. And then when we're constantly checking, it's really like, oh, did they pay yet? Oh, nope. Okay. Like it's almost like micromanaging. You're really taking too much time to spend on like looking at what your numbers are and to see if that is where you want them to be. So ways to like get past either one of these. So one is like allowing yourself to accept what is in there. Now I know this is easier said than done, but saying to yourself, and this has helped for me, maybe even writing in a journal, I accept the number in my bank account at this very moment. And even writing that out, the two words I accept, can have a profound shift in the way you're then looking at your bank account. So allowing yourself to accept what's in there, make peace with it. And then if you want it to change, trusting in yourself that it's going to change. Trusting that you know exactly how to change it and you know what to do to change it. So really taking a moment to accept, to be with it, to make peace with it, and then fully trust yourself that you can do what's needed to be done there. So then another way to get past this is realistically determining ways to bring in more money without having to learn a new skill. So a lot of times when we find like, oh, I'm not making the money I need to, instead of thinking about what pieces of my business can I utilize to bring in more money right now, we start thinking about, oh, I need to learn that new skill, which is going to take 3 months to do, and then I can be making more money in my business. Oh, I need to go do this thing way over here that has nothing to do with what I'm doing, and then I'll make more money in my business. No, do not let your brain go down that path because it's going to cause a rabbit hole effect of feeling like everything externally is the solution when that's really not the solution. So, really allowing yourself to take stock of your business and realistically look at what is needed to make the money that you want. So, whether it's a product or service, taking stock and saying, if I sell 50 of this product, I will make this amount of money, which is what I want to see in my account. If I sell this many tickets to this event, that equates the amount of money I want to see in my account. And then from there, once you have a realistic goal for how you can make that much money, you can figure out the steps to realistically get you there. So really taking that time for yourself to notice how you can do it with what you already have, because you already know exactly what you need and you already have exactly what you need, whether you believe that or not. And really taking a moment to do that for yourself, to look into that and say, what is it that I already have? And how can I then use that to get to what my goal is, to where I want to go? So then this is more for the people who are the avoiders, who don't want to look at their accounts. Really, and even if you're not an avoider, to make this more part of your routine, if it isn't already, is taking a day of the week, every week, where you look at your accounting, you see where you are, and no matter where you are in that month or that year or that quarter, taking stock and figuring out, okay, how can I make it to my goal? Now, some of you might have money goals that you have every month or every quarter, maybe you don't. So taking a moment to really look at your books, balance your books, and then if you're not where you want to be, saying, how do I get there? What's, again, realistically looking at the steps you need to take to get to that space so that you can make that money. So taking that moment to really check in with your bank account as if it's a living, breathing thing and finding what you can add, you can do to bring in that money that you want to reach the goal that you want. So, moving on now to when you're providing your offer, your services, your products to your clients. Perfectionism comes in there as well. Now, sometimes it's changing your offer because no one's buying and you feel like you gotta change it to get the right people in the door. Sometimes it's changing it because some other reason. Or thinking, oh, okay, no one's buying this product. I need to create this other product or this other service that I'm sure that people will buy. All of that is perfectionism, is taking time to change what you already have in place and perfecting it to get that perfect, that right person in the door, which is not necessarily going to help or get you there because you're constantly changing what you're doing and you're not sticking to one thing. So, first off, I want to offer to decide. Decide what your offer is, whether it's a product or service, decide and stick with that one thing for at least 6 months. So, really, and the reason why I bring this up is because if you're trying to sell too many things at once and no one's buying any of them, it's either because your belief isn't there and you don't believe that they need that product or service, or it's also that you're multitasking so much that your energy is in too many places at once and no one really knows what it is you're doing or selling, and so they're not coming to you to buy. So really, deciding for yourself what it is you want to be selling. And then when you get really good at selling that one thing, then you can add more things. So for all my multi-passionate entrepreneurs out there, I am like you. I want to do all the things if you can, because it's hard, boiling it down to one thing and sticking to that for 6 months at least. And then once you perfect selling it and people start to buy it and your belief is fully in it and you are fully sold on your thing that you're selling and sold that people want it, then you can add more offers. But really sticking to that one thing and believing in yourself. A lot of this is mindset. So a lot of these things we're talking about where perfectionism is showing up is all about your mindset and all about how you're thinking about your business and what you're selling and your clients who are buying. So really taking a moment to focus, and stop multitasking in your business because it's not helping you. We're taught to multitask and, told that it's great if you can multitask, and it really is not where you want to go for your business. You want to focus on that one thing. So another thing you can do, which I suffered from this a lot, is a client would come to me and say, "Hey, I like that. I like your offer, but if you could tweak it a little bit and offer it this way, then I would buy it." Or, any version of that. Don't do that. And the reason why I say that is because your clients, first of all, don't always know what they want, because you might have someone say, "Hey, I'd really love it if you offered this," which is, not what you offer at all. And then you do offer that because that one client said so. And then that one client doesn't buy, and neither does anyone else. And the reason for that is because you're not in belief of it. You're doing it because that client said you should do it, and you don't necessarily believe that it's what you want to be selling, or it doesn't feel right in some way. Tweaking your offer maybe feels like it's screwing with your value or screwing with the worthiness of what you're offering. So I'm not saying to ignore your clients, because it's great to get feedback from them and know what they want, but don't build your business based on what those clients want if it's not true for you in your heart. If it's not something you 100% believe in offering and feel that it's needed, then no matter how many people say they want it, they're not going to buy it from you. So really making sure that if you are taking other people's advice for how you're presenting your offers to people, making sure that you are 100% bought into it before you do that. And that you're not doing it because so-and-so told you to. Maybe they gave you the idea and that's great, but you have to buy into it. You have to 100% be willing to be selling the shit out of that. Because if you're not, it's gonna feel like drudging through mud, and you're gonna drag your feet and you're gonna hate every second of it. So really making sure that whatever you're offering, you're buying into it 100%, whether someone told you they want it or not. And I would advise not to go that route, to really do what feels right in your heart, that you know that you want to sell and you want to sell all the time, and that you feel that people need it as well. So the other piece of this, and these solutions can work for all of these too, all these ways that perfectionism shows up in your business, is really trusting your intuition and knowing that you know exactly what's right for you, and knowing that it's consistent with what feels right for you. So really taking the time to pause, be still, listen to your body, listen to yourself, and check in and make sure, does this feel right for me? And if there's any inkling of, then maybe it's time to reevaluate. So I would highly recommend journaling, journaling, journaling to get past some of these mindset blocks, but also really focusing on being in tune with yourself and knowing what feels authentic to you to be offering your clients. Because the more authentic you are in selling, the more they will want to buy. So there's two more ways that perfectionism shows up in our businesses. And the next one is your elevator pitch. So constantly changing your elevator pitch. Maybe you have several elevator pitches that you pitch to different people. Or maybe you constantly change your elevator pitch no matter who you're talking to and never settling on one and never feeling like it's right. So there's another side of this because you can absolutely always be changing everything in your business, but you want to see it as an evolution. You don't want it to come from no one's buying this, so I'm changing and pivoting to this. You want it to come from, oh, this is a great offer, but let me tweak this one thing and then see if that's better. And as you're in business, you might just continuously tweak things to really grow and find like the most amazing offer that's in tune with you and your multi-passionate brain or everything that you really want to offer. So knowing the difference there, because one of those comes from scarcity mindset and one of those comes from abundant mindset. So in terms of the elevator pitch, and I know can be really hard for some of you. So if you don't have an elevator pitch and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Kristen? I want you, if it feels available to you, to sit down with a journal, a piece of paper and pen, and write a question saying, what do I want to offer? Who am I offering it for? And why am I doing this? And see what comes up. And your elevator pitch will come out of the answers to those questions. But if you already have an elevator pitch and you're going all over the place with how you're presenting it to people, here's a few solutions how to get past that. So, first of all, again, deciding what feels most aligned with you in the moment and then trying that out 1,000 times. So, finding like an outline. I like to see it as here's the outline of what I'm saying. And now for some of you, this will feel really scary, where you only have the outline and you use that when you're talking to people. And if in the moment you feel the need to go off script, that's totally fine. Because a lot of times, one, that's going to make you look more authentic when you're speaking from your heart in the moment. And two, if you are reading from a script, you're going to be more nervous. You're possibly going to screw up and then might feel really uncomfortable if you didn't say all the words the way that they're supposed to be. I know for myself, like trying to do that can be really hard when there's a script and I feel like I have to do it word for word. So deciding what that outline is for you, whatever it is, and knowing that when you decide, you can change it down the line. But allowing that first decision to be, here's my outline for my elevator pitch, and here's how I'm going to present it to someone. And if in the moment that changes, that is okay. But allowing it to evolve and change and not changing it because, oh, no one likes this, or finding reasons why it's not working. So I already sort of talked about this too, is like letting it evolve, not letting tweaks mean that something's wrong, not letting the fact that you're changing it mean that the old version wasn't working. So really letting it be more of something that you continuously change as you're growing your business and as you're determining what your ideal clients are really looking for. And if that changes for specific people, so you might notice in certain groups of people, you might need a different pitch. And I want to offer you, instead of having 5 different pitches that you then have to figure out which group of people does this certain pitch work for, make it the same one outline of your pitch. And know that if you're talking to this group of people versus this other group of people, Whatever comes out of your mouth is the evolution of that per that group of people. So really allowing it to be more natural, trusting again in your intuition, trusting in yourself to be able to put out there what is in your heart. And again, those questions I told you to journal, those will help you get to where your elevator pitch is. It will show you what you want to present to people to tell them what your business is about. And if you're multi-passionate, that's okay. But finding a way that you can take all of those things into one outline of an elevator pitch. And also not making it too long, because an elevator pitch is, the idea is that you're in an elevator and you get through the whole thing by the time you reach your floor. So intuition, listening to yourself, and really allowing yourself to evolve and not being so rigid in what you're putting out there. And so now we're on to the last one. So the last one comes with hiring staff. So sometimes when we're hiring staff, and I know not all of you are doing that at the moment, but for anyone who is, you might have an ideal employee in your mind of who you want to hire. And whereas I think that is good to some extent, I think an outline of here are the requirements I want in a candidate, but maybe no more than that, just the minimum requirements, because when you start to add more to that, like, oh, they have to have this, they have to do that, they have to do this, then your person that you're creating in your mind, it's going to turn out that that person doesn't exist. And maybe that person is not currently looking for a job. So really noticing where you're trying to put this like rigid ideal on who you're looking for and letting go of that. So keeping an open mind to all the possibilities and know that they might show up differently in one employee versus another. So really allowing that very short list of requirements and then not making it so long that like the person you're creating in your mind, it doesn't exist in real life. You want to make sure that you can find someone to fill those jobs. So really allowing the openness to possibility, to things being there. And also allowing yourself to take a risk on someone even if you're not sure. So maybe you really love such and such about the person, but they have no experience. Letting yourself take a risk, and maybe they'll learn what they need to learn on the job, and really trusting that they can do that. And then lastly, getting clear of what you're looking for in advance so that you can properly communicate that to the people who you're putting it out there for. So again, that very short list of the main requirements that you need to have in a person, and then maybe having the must-haves, but letting the extra things or the would-be nice-to-haves be something that if they don't have it, it's okay. It doesn't mean they're not going to get the job. So really being open, being clear with what you're looking for, and being open to the possibilities that someone might show up that doesn't fit that perfectly, and that's okay. All right, I want to thank you all for joining me today on Instagram and Facebook this morning, talking about perfectionism in your business. Now, if you really liked today's topic and you're looking for more talks like this, I have a networking group on meetup.com, and every month we have a virtual meetup where I talk about a different topic. So this is what we talked about this month. So if you're interested in joining my meetup group, feel free to email me at kristen@truthliveswithin.com, and I'd be happy to send you the link for the meetup. This is also a little bit of what I work on with my clients. In my 6-month coaching program, we talk about perfectionism, how it's showing up, and we start to peel back the layers. So we work on a lot of this stuff and anything else that's getting in the way and blocking my clients from building the business of their dreams. So if that sounds like something that interests you, again, email me at kristen@truthliveswithin.com. We'll set up a free call and I'll tell you all about it. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a great start to your week, and I'll see you all on the other side. Okay.